Okay, thumbnail clicked. Dude, I put the cigarette in my pocket and it got fucking bent. Like, pretty bad. What's up, guys? Welcome to another YouTube video. Dude, I got a tan like crazy from work. We're gonna... Oh. Marlboro Black, guys. I don't want to be judged how I smoke my cigarette. I smoke it how I like. Anyways, I've been thinking about this topic for some reason, like, so heavy. I hate cigarettes. I'm just doing this for the aesthetic, if I'm being honest with you. I'm gonna let it burn out for most of the video because I won't be yapping so much. Anyways, I was gonna talk about why, like, looking at your past doesn't even matter, especially when you're with Christ. Like, let's just say you're an atheist, and first of all, being an atheist, like, whether you believe in Jesus or not, looking in your past and dwelling on it doesn't benefit you no matter what, right? There's a story in the Bible, I think it was Lot's wife, where God said, bitch, don't look back, you're gonna turn to a pillar of salt. I think it was like when the world was ending, something crazy was going on, and God was like, yo, don't look back, just keep going. And what did she do? She looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt. So you can look at it in two ways, and both ways are right. Disobedience, ignoring what God tells you, could lead to something that you know could be preventable. And most importantly, this is how I took it, looking at the past freezes you in time, and you become a pillar of salt. A pillar of salt is basically a useless clump. What are you gonna do with being a pillar of salt? No one wants that. It's fucking pointless. So looking back definitely freezes you. It puts you in a state of mind where now looking back in your past, now you become stagnant. And when you become stagnant, you become the worst version of yourself, which causes depression, because thinking about the past doesn't really cause, like, that can cause feelings where now you feel sad, and feeling that sadness could put you in a state of depression where you don't want to do anything, but it could also put you in a state of anxiety to now where all I want to do is get this feeling to go away. How do I do it? A lot of people, they escape, they smoke cigarettes, they watch porn, they do a bunch of shit they shouldn't do just because looking in the past brought them to that. And especially, another thing I wanted to talk about was when they're coming to Christ, a lot of them feel so unworthy because they had a past. They're like, well, I did this and I did that. I'm such a piece of shit. How can I? If your past was a problem, God would not have sent Christ to die for you. He would have said, all right, you've been so bad, I'm gonna judge you based on what you did. I'm not even gonna send my beloved son to die for you because you're just a piece of shit. There's no hope for you. When you repent and when you fall closer to God, everything you did is literally forgotten. The things that you keep on remembering, God's like, bro, what the fuck? I don't even remember that shit anymore. I don't even know what you're talking about. Why are you still talking about this? Let it go. Move on. Because that's what the sin wants, or I guess you could say the devil. We'll use that word for now. That's what the devil wants you to do, is dwell on your past so heavy that you fall into shame and guilt, that it brings you further away from God. Because you could fall into shame and guilt and get closer to God. A lot of people use the opportunity to get closer to God, and a lot of people, including myself, use that opportunity to get further away. In my past, I've done it, bro, so many times where I felt so unworthy, and I keep dwelling on the things that I know I shouldn't think about, and I'm like, there's no hope for someone like me. Like, but that's literally why why Christ came to this world, because the people who have the most rugged and rough past are the people who are able to help the ones who are trapped the most. You know what I mean? It takes, like the saying, the saying, the wounded healer. Christ was a wounded healer. You could only heal if you've been inflicted, and if you've suffered what others have suffered. That's why Christ came to suffer, because he felt exactly what we felt. So he knows exactly how to talk to us, exactly what to say to us. And we know that we have someone like-minded, just like us, who experienced everything that we've experienced. And even everyone in the Bible had a path, like Saul, Paul, who was Saul before, persecuted a bunch of Christians, and God didn't I like to think of it as God didn't necessarily call him just because he was worthy. Obviously he was worthy, but because God knew that people like us could look at Paul and be like, wow, if Paul, who had such an insane turnaround, could make that happen, then I could make it happen. And when you look back, a lot of the times you put everything on yourself. You did what you could with the mindset that you had at the time. You handled it to the best of your capability. So you cannot judge yourself off of a time when you were still growing and learning, because your mind is like this. And then every single day it gets a little bit better. And if you judge yourself and your mind's like this right now, but you had the mind like this, that's not fair, because you're still learning. This is your first time trying life too. You're not going to get it perfect. And if you were perfect, there's no point for you to be here. Go be with God. You know what I mean? Go be with the perfect creator. There's no point if you're perfect. What is the point of all this? The whole point of life is to evolve and to strive through our sufferings, and to learn how to walk without beating yourself up to the point where now you can't get up, not because you're not strong, but because you're holding yourself back. That's why forgiving and then forgetting is so important. That's the step to forgive like God. A lot of people say, I forgive, but I won't forget. Well, you're not thinking like God. Obviously, you're not God, but the key to contentment is to think how he would think, you know? And it's done. So, believe it or not, forgetting actually benefits you. A lot of people, just because you forget doesn't mean you have to do the exact same thing that you did or be okay with the things that were done to you. No, like, I forgive people that did me wrong, and I forget about it. Doesn't mean I'm gonna sit and be like, yeah, come fucking hurt me again. No, I'm not gonna do that. But what I am gonna do is move on, and I'm not gonna still dwell on it, because at the end of the day, I needed to go through that. And for me, what keeps me motivated is whatever negative things I need to go through, I think, okay, maybe I'll meet a kid or a teenager or an old person that is struggling with what I went through, and I'll be able to help them. So that keeps me kind of on the path of contentment almost, because when you're looking in your past, it will trigger you to be uncontent or discontented, I guess. And that's something you don't want to fall into. Discontentment leads to depression. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. That was just a lot of people are coming down the street now, and I want to go inside and make some food. I'm really hungry. But yeah, guys, let go. Like, just try your best to not judge yourself on the things you've done, and remember, you are not your past and you are not your sin. Alright? Separate yourself from your sin. It is not you who does the sin, but the sin that dwells within you. Let it all go. Apostle Paul.